Today I am so happy. I have a very special guest with me. He's a renowned, award-winning Indian-born British chef who has left an incredible mark on the global culinary landscape. Born in India, Atul's culinary journey began at an early age, influenced by his mother's home cooking and the vibrant flavours of Indian cuisine. He pursued his passion for cooking by attending catering college, where he honed his skills and developed a deep appreciation for the art of gastronomy. He's the first Indian chef to receive a Michelin star, a respected authority on Indian cooking worldwide. Welcome, Atul. This is amazing. Thank you for joining me today at this incredible studio.
Oh, thank you for having me, Anita.
No, it's awesome. We've been planning this for some time and we're finally here. I can't believe it.
Here.
No, it's really, really good. So, Atul, you have inspired so many people. I'm sure many have followed in your footsteps and opened great restaurants. But how did it all begin in the early days? How was the passion ignited for you?
So I didn't start out to inspire others. I started out to earn a living, to be honest. So I think the best is I take you back in my family history. My grandfather was a baker, and my father had a catering business. Mom was a teacher, an academic. So coming from that background, it was quite easy to fall for food. And also in an era when all the Indian parents were dreaming to send their kids to medical or engineering school or accounting. So I wasn't going to do any of those. I always had curious mind and curious eye towards what my granddad was doing in terms of his baking, and also the way my dad conducted himself. He was a trained engineer and decided to change his profession, which was quite unlikely in those times, but he still managed to do it, and he struggled. I would say, the economics didn't match up that time, but it didn't deter me to join the catering full-fledgedly. He didn't stop me. He said, I think if that's what you love, you should follow your passion, but make sure that you see it through. That's the most important thing. And another good piece of advice he gave me, he said, you're from Punjabi family, you were born in East India. Why don't you go and study in South India, where you will try to learn about your own country a bit more? That was the best piece of advice I ever got, to be honest. I went to Chennai and joined IHM Chennai. Never looked back. I absolutely fell in love. I never knew my own country was so beautiful with such wonderful people, different types of cuisines. I traveled all the 4 states, that time 4, now they have 5 or 6, I think, states of South India, which was Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. And I really enjoyed Anita. I made lots of friends for life, learned lots of skills. My father said, look, if you're enjoying it, there's no point coming home. We are always here. Learn a new skill while you're there. So all my holidays, I would self-invite myself to one of the friends who had a farm or something of sort in South India. And I would go to their house and live with them and work in farms and look after the cattle. I've done all that, all basic stuff. Living in a town like Jamshedpur, I would have never thought anything like that would happen to my life. But Chennai gave me that. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so inspired by hearing that story and the way that you had the guts to go out there and explore the different parts of India. I mean, I just about go to the main cities. You've worked in some incredible places like the Oberoi, the Taj, and also in Tamarind in the heart of Mayfair. Tell me more about what the experience was like for you there and how your career grew from there.
It was fantastic. So after coming out of catering college, IHM Chennai, I got handpicked to go to a very pristine and prestigious college called Oberoi School of Hotel Management, owned by Oberoi Hotels. And they only take 12 students from all over the India. So I was quite fortunate, to be honest. That's how I look back on it. But that training was priceless. It made me who I am today. It was like being in the army. It was tough, disciplined life. You got to be up early. You got to work hard. You got to keep time for everything. It was amazing training. And then I got headhunted to come to London. Tamarind was a brand new restaurant. I met the owners in India and they quite liked my food and they said, would you like to work for us? I didn't think much about it. I said, I'm young, I can explore. Why not? If I fail, India is home, I can come back. And that's how I came out here, to be honest. And I came to Tamarind. It was 1994, so it's 30 years this year now. So Indian food was quite different that time in the UK. There were a couple of good restaurants, and to name a few, Bombay Brasserie and Red Fort were the two which were really good. Rest of them, I'm not saying they were bad, but they were kind of inspirational Indian food. They were Indian subcontinental food rather than Indian food, so to say. Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion, but they had their own version of cooking Indian food. And I learned in a classic way, and I wanted to experiment and also push the boat out. And I started cooking in my own flair. And it was liked. It was liked by Faye Mashler, liked by A. Gale. All the journalists of that time thought it was some of the best things that were happening to London Indian cuisine. And I was quite welcomed. I felt very good. Till my father came in 3 years later. He came to the restaurant and said, "Yeah, I would love to eat your food today." I said, "Okay, Dad, I'll cook for you." Cooked for him, and I saw my old man wasn't very happy eating my food. And my dad never told us off, any of us. He always used to say, "Let's go for a walk." And that walk used to be a long lecture. So he said, "Let's go for a walk after the lunch." I knew I'm in for trouble. So we went to Hyde Park, and then we walked around quite a lot. And his message was quite clear. He said, "Look, I think if you're enjoying it, then do it rightly. And if you're just passing time and want to make some bucks and come back home, then it's okay. I'm not going to say more." So I said, "No, Dad, I actually absolutely love it. And the life here is great. And I've been well accepted in the community, and the hospitality community is amazing. They are so supportive, and what I'm doing is being quite liked." He said, "I'm sure it's all liked. I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong, but I don't think you are in it completely. You are sitting on the fence." And I understood pretty much immediately what he was trying to tell me. Anita, I had not looked into the agriculture cycle of this country. I had not gone into any butchers to learn what type of cuts they make. I had not gone to any farms. I was just buying whatever was coming to my door. I thought London is a great place. You call and everything comes to your door. But that's where I was wrong. And I had also not understood the agriculture cycle of this country, where things like oranges and cauliflowers would happen to us in winters in India, whereas it happens in summer here. So those things I had not factored into my menu. So after Dad left, I started going to my suppliers and started learning from them. I took a little dinghy boat in North Sea with one of the fish suppliers and went in to see how the fish is caught, what all is landed. I invested time into learning about this country, and I was so happy that I did it. And 2 years later, I landed up with the Michelin star because my menu started changing. And when I told my dad I got a Michelin star, he said, "Oh, it's the same company that sells tires." I said, "Yeah, Dad, that's
yes,
right."
Is, yeah.
So that's my story. So I was always challenged by my dad and my mom. Mom was always supportive of what I was doing. Dad was the culinary challenge all the time in my life. He was a great cook, and I've always tried to recreate things what he used to do. Sadly, he's not among us now, but his legacy is amazing. He taught me loads.
And we talk about his legacy right now, all the messages that he gave you with so much love, and it was down to you to decide how to take those messages and what to do with them. And it was a transformative moment for you, I believe, when he said that to you with that walk in Hyde Park.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. I lived that time and time again, that the words he said, and I wouldn't let myself forget that, because they were golden words, and he was absolutely right.
That's incredible. Just those the wisdom that he shared with you, and he got you to explore yourself further. I love that idea of you going down to the North Sea and taking a dinghy and
it was
exploring
fantastic.
how fishing is.
I have learned so much, and this is what I'm telling my kids. I said, "Look, whatever you do, delve into it. Take a deep dive. Don't just scratch the surface. You will not do anything. If you're scratching the surface, your system is telling you don't like it. Walk away. Look for something that is deep in your heart and you want to do it and you are into it, and you come back home after 48 hours at work and you tell yourself how much I loved it. It was so beautiful. That's the profession that's the one you should go for."
So passion is the driver here. You've got to be
Absolutely.
so.
Absolutely.
And many people just don't find their passion. You were quite lucky to find that quite young on in your career. But I know I'm still exploring sometimes. I think, where shall I go? What shall I do? And it can be quite a minefield, I think, when you're looking at your careers. But you've had such great opportunities, especially with your work on TV and again, influencing people with your cooking, and your audiences are so varied, and also with your cookbooks as well. Can you share a bit more about the experience of being on TV and how that's all
So
worked out for you in terms of your profile?
I didn't look for TV. TV came looking for me, to be honest. And I was at Tamarind. That lovely lady, Meera Sayal, made a program on Indian food, that why Indian food is loved so much in the UK. So that was the first time I did TV. And then later after that, I left Tamarind and opened Banaras. And I was asked by BBC that they were starting a new program called Great British Menu. And would I like to participate? I had no idea what it was. I just said, yes, why not? Let's try it. I'm one of those guys who want to try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And failures don't deter me.
Yeah.
I've never been scared of failing.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in, and first day at the studios, I was told I'll be competing against a famous British chef. And they didn't tell me who he was till I reached the studios. Mm-hmm. And it was no other than Chef Gary Rhodes. Amazing, brilliant Gary Rhodes sitting in front of me with his burning eyes and looking at me that this little kid is going to compete against me. And I had huge respect for him and huge love, because I think what he had done for British cuisine, nobody had come closer to him, in my opinion. He had contributed loads. So I gave him my regards and sat down and chatted with him. And I said, look, Chef, I've never done TV and I'm so scared to be in front of you. He said, no, Atul, just be yourself. I'll be myself. You'll be yourself. And you know what you know best. And I don't think I know any of what you do. Perhaps you might know better than what I do, but it'll be great to see what you do against me. And that's how we started competing, and we had good laugh, and we were asked to be nasty to each other. And, not in bad language, but, just say, oh, that fish doesn't look good, chef. What do you want? How are you cooking that? I don't think that's a great style. So we were just banter, basically. It was good fun. It was real good fun all around. And then when the results were out, I was shocked. I managed to beat him. And that's how my TV career started. And then after that, one after the other, I kept getting more offers, and I did loads of time. I did Saturday Kitchen, then put your menu where your mouth is. Loads of series I did after that, it's been a great journey, to be honest. And I'm still continuing to do it. Now I don't take everything that comes to me. I pick things that I want to, because I don't have that much time. After leaving Banaras, I started a journey of my own to have a small portfolio of my restaurants. This year we opened 8th restaurant in the UK.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
An incredible achievement.
Thank you. Traveling abroad, Anita, I used to have 14, 15 restaurants, and I was a consultant in most of them. Dubai, and there was one in Mauritius, there was one in Maldives, 2 in India. That time I was discussing to have restaurants in States somewhere, also Australia, and I was thinking, how am I going to cover all this? It was tiring experience, to be honest, traveling from one place to the other all the time. And top of that, I also had, I think, 7 or 8 restaurants with P&O Cruises as well. So I had to manage them too. I had started feeling that I'm getting a fatigue. I'm getting tired. It wasn't great. And then when COVID happened, it kind of gave me a time to reflect. And I thought, I really don't need this. I just want to be with my wife and my children and be in the city that I love most. That's London. And I have ready-made crowd here on my doorstep who love Indian food. Why I'm running away from them?
That's so true.
And then I just thought, okay, let's open our own restaurants here for our own people. I don't need to do any more. And that's what I've done. I've gone on to, at that time during the COVID, I had 3 restaurants, and then we have added 5 more slowly. And I think for now that's it, because I already feel stretched now. And I don't want to feel stretched. I want to be easy. I want to be happy at my workplace. I have decided that as I turned 50 a few years ago, I decided stress is not going to be part of my system. I want to do things that I enjoy, and that's what I do now.
That's such good advice, and I love the way you've just so easily scaled up, and you're like, oh, I'm really comfortable with this right now, and I'm happy. And most people just keep going, and they just can't find their happiness in that. But I love what you said. During time of COVID in lockdown, you just had the realization that
True.
you have all these amazing people who want to enjoy your cuisine, and your reputation is just incredible. Like anyone that mentions your name, Atul, it's like, oh yeah, that's just like the best of the best.
Aw.
So I
Thank
always
you.
get that, and it's great, and I'm so fortunate that you've agreed to come to do the podcast, because you're saying probably no to other work in TV
Not at all,
and
Anita.
series
Never,
and
never,
everything.
I'll
Maybe
never say
we'll-
no to you. You're a friend as well.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you for that. Avnish and I really do appreciate that, everything
Thank you.
that you do, especially with the charity work. You have been so generous on so many different occasions with giving your time, your energy to come even to our home to cook for our guests, all in the essence of charity. And you've always said yes. Whenever I ask you, you never say no. And I think Avnish and I are very, very fortunate to have you as a friend, Atul.
That's
and
very kind
to
you
your
said that,
wife
but
as well.
I don't do it for any other reason, but it just gives me a lot of happiness. Giving is a big part of me, and I love giving whatever I can afford to give to people, and time, my skills, sometimes money as well. And if I could share my professional spaces with people like yourselves who does another wonderful things ahead, and it helps the society, helps the people among we live. I just believe in that, to be honest, because we brought nothing, we'll take nothing. When while we are here, why don't make a difference in people's lives? That's what I believe in.
No, so true. And also, in addition to that, we can also showcase the best of British Indians, what we can do, how we can contribute here to the
Absolutely.
UK through our work, through employing people, through our charity, through our giving, and just being on a level that's I think
Being human.
being human, yes, and just sharing the best of what we can give ourselves to. It's exhausting at times,
I'm
but
sure
it can
it
also
is.
be hugely fulfilling as well. And you go to bed at night thinking, wow, what a day I've had. I've done this. And I'm sure you must go through the same as well every day, feeling that the huge amount of satisfaction in the restaurants and seeing all those happy faces and the celebrations. And you have private dining areas as well, where people can have their private parties and so much more. And also more recently, you've been celebrating women chefs as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Share more about that, how that program works.
So we this year, actually last year, we started this late last year, and it was just a question from my own daughter, and I was talking about she's quite wise person. She's studying economics, and she was asking me, what do I do to handle my staff well? People are very loyal to you; they stay on very long. She said, I've seen some of your kitchens, and I do not see many women chefs. And I said, no, they do come, but they don't stay very long, and they work with us. So her next question was, are you people horrible to them? I said, never. That word doesn't exist in my dictionary and will not happen at my workplace, because everyone is equal and everyone is given love and respect. And especially women, they are held up in high esteem. She said, then why they don't stay? I said, that's one question I've never asked myself, to be honest. And you made me think about it. She said, I'll tell you why they don't stay. They are not celebrated enough in your industry. And I wanted to fight back by saying, no, look at Monica Galetti, look at Claire Clark, Claire Smith. There are so many, Angela Hartner, there are so many chefs who we celebrate, love them, and, they are personal friends and they are great chefs. They will knock the socks off any great chef in this country to that level. So, but it made me think that, yes, we don't have that many female chefs in our industry as much we should have it. They all come, a lot of women chefs come, train, and after sometimes the family pressures, they have childcare. And I thought, okay, I cannot change everything that's around me in one go, but I can start celebrating them. And that's what we have just recently started. So for one night at Kanishka, we invite one female chef, and she could be anybody. Now, a lot of chefs have, like someone like Anna Hansen, who's coming in a couple of months to cook with us. She used to have a great restaurant called Modern Pantry. She has decided to shut it down because of the childcare and other things. But she's still a great chef, in my opinion. So I want to celebrate her career and her work. So she's coming to cook with us. My entire team will work under her. She'll be the boss that day. And we invite about 50 to 60 guests to come in, and she shares her story. And whichever other way we can help her, we'll do that. And my aim is to collect all these recipes from her, from all the chefs who are coming to our restaurant every month. We'll create a great book out of it at the end of the year, and promote them as much as we can. So this is just one step that we have started recognizing them and making people understand that they are great chefs and we have to honor them and support them whichever way we are. The other question which always remains in my mind, Anita, is and perhaps being a father, I'm questioning this for the first time, that maybe system is not fair. We give enough space to women, not in just my industry, but everywhere, but also when it comes to childcare. When she goes away, a proper person is taken out of workforce. And it's so hard to fulfill that because hours and months and years go into train a person like them. And I also believe that they have this fantastic touch, especially when it comes to cooking. I don't think nobody can beat women chefs. They are great. A lot of famous three Michelin star chefs must be great, but any female chef who cooks with passion will knock the socks off with any chef, in my opinion.
I love that. That's incredible.
I love it. I have noticed it time and time again. I eat Angela's food. I eat Claire Clark's food. Monica's food. Not that Gordon Ramsay's food is not good, Marcus Waring's food is not good, or Chef Marco Pia White's food is not good. There's something special about their food. The finish, the touch, the flavor, the smell. It just puts me to another level.
That's really good, and I'm so glad that you're celebrating women, because that helps you to grow as a person, and also the people around you, even the chefs around you, and they get inspired by the idea. I think it's great on your daughter. Good for her for doing that. Love it. Great. And you just, like you said, you had your father, you also have your daughter now, who is your critical friend. On that note, you are also very grateful, I think. As I'm speaking to you, all I can hear is gratitude through everything that you've achieved and everything you've done to be the best of the best. And you have a huge vision. How did that vision come about? I mean, I know that you talk very fondly of your father, but how do you continue to be inspired and keep creating that vision?
Anita, in 20s, my vision must have been different, quite blurred as well. I didn't think clearly what I wanted. I just wanted to be a great chef, wanted to cook well, and wanted to hone my craft as much as I could. In 30s, I was a family man and I wanted to provide for my wife and my children. 40s, I lived that thing again. As I've reached 50s, I've started questioning myself. Whatever I have done, was it good? Was it good enough for the world? Am I leaving enough for others? Do I need so much? All these questions come to my mind all the time. And every action what I take now, I always ask myself, is it a need or a greed? If it's a need, I'll work for it. If it's a greed, I'll let go. So that's how I've started making decisions.
That's such good advice for the listeners. I'm sure that somebody will be listening to that and think, that would help me, certainly, because I question myself often. I always have these ideas. I want to do this, I want to do that. And then I stop and I say, okay, Anisha, stop. Why do you want to do it? Can you cope with it? You do not have enough on your plate. But it's good to be excited about life and to whatever it is that you do, and to have that, that passion just for living, getting out of bed in the morning and thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do something really exciting today. My day's packed with this. Do you have that where you have so much variety in your day? You finish up at the end of the day and you think, wow, what an incredible day.
I always feel what an incredible day, and I'm always grateful to God for giving me that special day, another special day. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful to God to allow me to wake up again and start a new journey again. And the excitement comes from small things and big things. And I have crafted my days of course, around my restaurants, no doubt, but also around my family. And as my son is going to give his A levels, and we are looking for him to go to the university, uh, I see my wife Dipti quite anxious, and mother's anxiousness is something on another level. To be honest, me as a father, I think I'm quite chilled out. I'm thinking, he'll be all right, he'll be okay, he'll manage, and I think she worries about him a lot. So my going back to how I excite myself looking at my children, looking at my wife, looking at my challenges at work, creativity. So after becoming an entrepreneur, I have felt that perhaps I have not been able to give so much time to creativity, which I love most of my job, to be honest. But then you can be creative in many ways. You can be creative with people. You can be creative with mentoring people. You can be creative as a father. You can be creative as a husband. You can be creative as a gardener, which I didn't realize I had it in me, but I'm working out. So there are loads of things. And there are days that I'm lazy as well. Like it was yesterday. I decided it's Monday. There's not a lot happening in the restaurants. I'm not going anywhere. So I just sat in front of telly and spoke to my kids because Arjun was at home and Amisha is visiting. And I spent most of my day with Dipti, and I thought it was one of the most wonderful days in this month, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm choosing simpler things, Anita, and trying to be excited with whatever I have in my life, and I'm very happy with that.
And another gem that you've just shared there, I love it. This is so powerful. And if I was to ask you, what's your best cuisine and what's your best restaurant? Or even who's your best chef? Who would you choose and what would you choose?
Gosh, among chefs, there are loads of them. But one person who I have always looked up to and who has always inspired me by his persona, the way he is, the way he cooks, and he talks about any ingredient so beautifully, is Chef Rick Stein. I absolutely love him. I think he's one person. I regret that I didn't get opportunity to work under him, but I got to know him well as a friend, and I've learned a lot from him while talking to him. But what he has contributed to the British gastronomy is immense. To the gastronomy, not just British, because he's quite well-traveled person. He has been to India. He's been to different parts of the world, to be on Caribbean, you name it. I don't think he has left any part of the planet. And he has overflowed us with the knowledge he has gained, and he has shared it very generously and genuinely. And his restaurants are beautiful. Every time I've eaten his restaurant, I've always felt what a great mark to this amazing person. And what he says, he shares in the same manner. His restaurants are real gems.
And that I would say would be your best cuisine?
My best cuisine, I'm very biased on this one. I'm quite biased to Thai food.
Okay.
I grew up in India, so growing up, there were only two cuisines available, Anita. One was Indian, other was Chinese. It was very late in my life when I was training for Oberoi Hotels. The first Thai restaurant opened called Ban Thai. And Mr. Oberoi was quite a specific man. He wouldn't just bring anybody to cook Thai food. He would bring original Thai people. So when he opened Chinese, he wouldn't just say, I'm opening Chinese. He'll say, I'm opening Shanghainese Chinese or Hong Kong Chinese. And he will source the chefs from there. So he was like, if you want to do something, do it well. Otherwise, don't do it. So that kind of perfection is unthinkable, to be honest. He was just from another planet, that man. And he taught us really well. He was quite a strict person as well to work for. So I went to Thai kitchen as a trainee, and there were 7 female chefs. And there were 2 or 3 commies like me. And they really worked me very hard, making pace, pounding spices, running from this place, bring them that, bring them this. They spoke very little English. But at the end of the evening, I had 7 mothers who would sit down on the table and feed me, eat this, this is good for you. You worked very hard. And I think it was nostalgia, love, flavor, everything together. I just fell in love with Thai food. I thought that was amazing food. It was very family-oriented food. It was a communal food. There was nothing fine dining about it that time, definitely. And it had rice, it had curries, it had stir-fried, it had noodles. Everything I ate growing up between Indian food and Chinese food, it was both put together, but another 10,000 flavors. So there was nothing that I could have stopped me to fall in love with Thai food. And I still continues to love Thai food.
I need to have a recipe for the green curry paste, please.
Definitely.
I did do a little cookery lesson in Thailand when I went with my daughter.